Hello everybody, and today we're going to go over how to set up global modifiers. So global modifiers refer to things that overall affect something, say an equipment piece that when equipped it gives you +1 in AC, or maybe gives you a +1 in bonus saves. Something like sneak attack bonuses, something like potions, giving you 25 strength in the case of fire giant strength potions, etc., etc. So we're going to go over a few things. I have a smorgasbord kind of set up. First off, we're going to go over, because somebody asked me. So first off, yes, this comes by a suggestion or a request on how to do these. Some of these are specific ones, some of these are ones I added in here because they fit the theme. One thing they said is they tried to use the pre-packaged items that comes with DAE. Now, so DAE is rather new. A lot of these are just ported over from dynamic effects. So unfortunately, a lot of these are not correctly set up. For instance, I was looking through them once he said this, and I was like, oh yes, I forgot about those, let me check this out. So I went over here, and I checked out active effects for, say, this ring of protection. I was checking it out. It's set as a cloak of protection in the effect label. This doesn't mean anything. This is just the sort of denominator when you look at a character's effects, but it's still something that, you know, is a bit iffy, maybe wasn't sort of copied over right. Attribute armor class add 1. This is fine, this works, this is correct. Bonus ability save custom 1. This is incorrect. What you want here is a +1 because custom, unlike add, doesn't already add a sort of effect to be applied to any value you select here. Custom means you decide the sort of effects that are applied to the values you enter. So it's useful if you want to use like dice, for instance. So you want to make sure that's a +1 if you're going to be doing something like this, not just a 1 like it's set up inaccurately. Can't save it because it's in a item compendium. One more thing. Let's go over here. Well, actually, let's just get into it then. So I made a call it Sneak Boy because I couldn't think of a better name right now. So we're going to go over sneak attack damage first because these are this is the least automated option. So let's pull these down here and crack it open. So this is just a class, a creature I made real quick. It has, let's break this deck down to the first level of Rogue, because I was testing it out. Thank you again to the creator of Dynamic Active Effects, MIDI Quality, Tipanze. He helped me out with Sneak Attack. I used to have it set as a macro for toggling. When I asked him how it should be set up for dynamic active effects, because I was actually rather curious about that, he explained that actually he doesn't use the macro for toggle either anymore or ever. I can't remember. I know that used to the toggle for the macro via /feature used to be the case. I used to have it down here. It's actually, even if I have, say, this character, it should be still in his custom hotbar, because I used to use him a lot. Yeah, so this used to be the case. It used to be a feature that, if I could just get this to move, okay, and I would go ahead and use this. This was for minor quality. No longer the case. You don't want to be using this anymore, because this is actually a better solution. though not as automated. But not everything has to be automated perfectly all the time. I think this is a great solution. So this means that it will not automatically do sneak attacks for you. You will sort of, but even before, there was no way of sort of just telling. You always have to turn it on. There's no way for Foundry and Dynamic Active Effects and MIDI quality to sort of look at the state of the board and say, okay, you have advantage because X creature is this in front of this token and you're targeting this token, or it is an enemy to this. There's no way for it to do it. It's too abstract. There's no way for Foundry to sort of digest that information like that. So you would always have to either toggle it on, and it's great this way because, one, you don't have to worry about setting a time limit, say a round. And if you didn't, you would forget. You would have sneak attack on, and you would forget to toggle it too. So what this does is a weapon that is set up as nothing special on it, and it is set as action type other. What this means is there will be no attack roll. It will not try to roll for an attack. It will just always do damage. So what you want to do is have the attack as normal, and say your player is like, oh, do I have sneak attack? Or maybe more or less you initiate it. Hey, by the way, you have sneak attack. They will use this sneak attack weapon to apply the sneak attack damage. So you don't have to worry about toggles. It's a little bit safer, and it's a lot more convenient, I think. So it was actually a really brilliant solution. So this is what you want, and this, of course, will always, as always, will be in the description below, so you don't have to try to copy it from here. But let's go over sort of what this means. So right here, this is calling for your rogue levels. Oh, sorry, let's go over to the character. It is calling for your rogue levels, and it is also calling for, sorry. It is, so what it is doing is basically, oh, sorry, it's a bit late for me. So what this is doing is it is calling for half the rogue levels rounded up in D6. So that is why there's so many parentheses. Seal classes.rogue.levels/2 is that number. The extra parentheses is to tell D&D that the spec refers to a parenthetical roll, i.e. XD6. This comes straight from T-Ponzi. I never would be smart enough to have figured this out on my own, so thank you to him. I know a little bit of code, a tiny, minuscule amount, enough to sort of understand what's thrown at me, but this I was just like, whoa, it is definitely some stuff I've never seen. It is so if you kind of break it down, other words, these are all in parentheses, D6. So in other words, it's saying all of this is X, this is D6. It's really brilliant. And yeah, so I would have usually just gone without the seal at classes.rogue.levels, and then I would have been stuck because I'm like, well, okay, I have the rogue levels, but how do I translate that into a D6 to change? And this is how it's great. So so full credit to T-Ponzi on that. That is a brilliant solution. It's a really brilliant one. Alright, enough of that. That is the description of how that kind of works, and sort of, well, let's just use it. So you attack, let's just say, have sneak attack available to you. You roll sneak attack, 1d6, and we rolled quite nicely as well. So you're saying, okay, well, that's fine and dandy, but it does more damage as I level up. So what do I have to change? I have to, every time they level up, and say they get the 3rd level and it becomes a 2d6. Oh no, I have to go in and change this and remember to change this. And what if they jump up a bunch of levels because we're doing maybe, I don't know, like a weird one shot or something where they have higher levels and I have to change all that and change it. You don't. So let's go in. The first time a rogue gets a different damage die for sneak attack is 3rd level when it jumps to a 2d6. So you've simply just changed that to level 3. Let's go in here, let's press sneak attack, and we have 2d6. And then let's go and say, well, you know, level 20, they have 10d6 at that level. And it works for every level in between. So it does it perfectly because this is basically the same sort of formula that base D&D uses. So it's always a class level, a rogue level, sort of rounded up. Or, yeah, in D6 form of obviously. So, you know, 3rd level rounded up, 2d6. Alright, I mean, I'm sorry, it's half the rogue level rounded up. I should have clarified. Otherwise, 3d6 rounded up. It would just be, I mean, level 3 rounded up would be 3d6. But half the rogue level rounded up, sorry. So 3d6. So that is sneak attack. That, by the way, doesn't have anything to do with dynamic active effects. That is entirely done in mid equality. Dynamic active effects is not required for that sneak attack. I would say effect, but it's not really an effect. It's that sneak attack sort of solution. Let's say that. Not perfect either, but okay. Let's pull this bad boy down. Another thing that came from the user that was asking about this stuff was specifically Mage Armor. So Mage Armor, you touch a willing creature, blah blah blah, AC becomes 13 plus Dexterity modifier instead of 10 plus Dexterity modifier. So let's go ahead and hop in here and sort of look at what we're dealing with. Now let's jump in here so we can see it a little bit better. So you want your attribute key to be attributes armor class. This will, in other words, deal with this part of your character and your character sheet and the information therein. Change mode, you want override because you want this to be instead of 10 plus, instead of 10 plus your dexterity modifier. You don't want to add because then I'll just add 13 plus your dexterity modifier. That's a bit much. So the effective value is 13. That is and plus abilities dot dex dot mod. So what this is doing is saying it's going to be adding 13. It is going to be making your, it's going to be making your armor class by default 13, which is what the spell does, and then adding your dex modifier instead of what it usually does is make your armor class 10 by default. So this is making your armor class 13 by default, then adding your dexterity modifier. So this is the call for your dexterity modifier. As always, this will be in the description below, but sort of as the explanation of it. If you want to sort of do your own spells, maybe make a better version of it, maybe make a version that calls on strength or on intelligence, etc. Maybe for a feat or maybe for a homebrewed spell. Who knows? So let's cast that, show you how that works. So you want to target whoever you're using. Usually that's the mage himself. But yes, let's not consume a spell slot because this is a player token. Mage Armor is cast, and you'll see that he's jumped up to 15. If you want to check his dexterity, it is indeed plus 2. 13 plus 2 is incidentally 13. Let's go to his active effects, and you see that he has for quite a while, but altogether, that means he has it for 8 hours, which is the duration of Mage Armor. And then when that goes away within the 8 hours, I'm not going to do that so I don't mess up my time in the game too much. So let's just delete it because it's exactly the same thing. It jumps back down to 12, which is normal. So hopefully that sort of clarifies how that works. Let us go down to maybe some items. So items. Actually, first, let's just do this real quick. Let's go ahead and cover another spell before we jump into items, since we haven't done items before. So let us jump down here. Excuse me, I thought this guy had it. He does not, but we'll just get that quickly. It's not that big of a deal. Shield. Alrighty, and then we will go ahead and cast that. No, spell slot. So shield, if you didn't know, it creates a barrier that adds +5 to your bonus AC, or a +5 bonus to your AC, including against the triggering attack, and you take no damage from magic missile. So let's hop into here. Active effects. So, sort of like the armor, since sort of like Mage Armor, you want to be affecting attribute armor class because again that affects with this field. You want this to be add 5 traits damage custom damage immunity custom 0. So in other words, why this is 0 is because I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. Unfortunately, I am not certain, but I believe in dynamic effects originally, you could make yourself immune to something like magic missile by putting it in parentheses and having the exact name of the spell. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case with all of the sort of testing I've done and sort of backed up by Taponzi himself. It is not possible to sort of call a spell name and make you immune to that in dynamic active effects, at least not currently, but I do believe it was available as an option in dynamic effects. So sadly it's something that we currently don't have available to us, but sort of what you could do is just say magic missile, and we'll sort of show you, even though that doesn't make you immune to the effects automatically, we'll show you what that could do. So let's go ahead and go here. Let's go ahead and cast this again. Alrighty, let's look at this thing and see why this is not working. So it should be working. Attribute armor class, yes sir. Add 5, custom magic missile. I love it whenever. Oh, okay. Let's try targeting, even though it shouldn't matter what's targeted. Well, I don't know what's going on here, so let's go ahead and make this from scratch, because I feel like something is broken. So let's go ahead and create temp, and let us make this a spell. And let's not add anything to this. Oops. And let's just add this to here. Alrighty, let's go ahead and go into active effects. Oh, sorry. Again, you always want to make sure you're doing this in the. It's still sort of a bad habit when I used to use. When I used to use dynamic effects rather than dynamic active effects. Let's add both of these. Let's go down to attributes, armor class, add 5. Immunities. We'll go down here. Alright. I don't know how to. Oh, it's in traits, isn't it? Yeah, it is. My bad. Stock condition immunity. Sorry about that. Damage immunity custom. Alright, and we can go again and say magic missile. And then make sure this is all working. Yep, don't want that to great. And then let's go ahead in here and make sure that it says normal stuff. It doesn't have to say much, it just has to say the base stuff that sorry, I didn't mean to add the one. I just need to say the base stuff that it sort of deals with. Let's put temp in here. Let's go ahead and use temp. Alrighty. So I'm not sure why shield, as is the ones I have, wasn't working. However, we have it here working now. So it has added 5 to my armor class, and it has made me immune to magic missiles. So let us go ahead here and use magic missile on myself. So as you can see, it does not make me immune to it as it should, or at least as it used to in dynamic effects. However, it does tell you that you're immune to magic missile, so you can sort of get that told to you sort of in reference and sort of remind yourself. And I will sort of go over the shield, and I will describe what I found to be the problem in the description below, just in case sort of you are curious. As you can see, it was working before on this token, so I'm not sure exactly what has happened here. So let's go down to test 2, and we will cover sort of some of the next stuff in the lineup. Yes, so we're going to be covering a Staff of Defense, a Strength Potion. Yeah, I think that's what we have on here, lined up for this guy. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a consumable real quick. Consumables. As far as MIDI quality goes, again, you just want to have the time set up and the target set up for dynamic active effects. Let's go into here. If you also want to learn more about what each of these things mean when it comes to dynamic active effects, you can check my first video on dynamic active effects. Dynamic effects, mind you, dynamic active effects, where I covered how to do conditions in dynamic active effects. I also went over in that video sort of all the descriptors and sort of what they all mean and stuff. So, ability strength, which calls to this area, this value on a character in a character sheet as well. And then we have override. So in other words, no matter the strength, it will always be greater. Though I believe a strength potion, it says that it doesn't do it if it's actually already better than that. So what you would actually want to do is upgrade. So that's something I caught, thankfully. You want upgrade because you don't want this over riding. You know, if you have a 26 strength, you want it only sort of giving you a benefit. So you don't want to accidentally, you know, have it set so your players can give your BBEG, who has like 30 strength, this potion, and now he's down 5 strength. You want to upgrade, so that means if it's given, it will only ever add this value if it's better or equal to your current value. And let's go ahead and let's drink that to sort of show you that it works real quick. Again, so for potions, you don't need to have anything selected or that and all that. And as you can see, 25 strength currently, and we have push fire strength 3600 hours. Let's go ahead and just show you that time works perfectly for potions. Gone within the hour effect. Now, let's do equipment, something I have not yet covered. So, this is the fixed version, by the way, of the item I found called Rigor Protection in the base folder. So as I showed you before, this wasn't set up properly, but this was not. So here I renamed it Rigor Protection to sort of better differentiate itself. So, what you want right here is the difference between spells is no matter what the ability does, if it's equipment that's meant to sort of give you benefits as you equip them or as you have them in your inventory, you want to transfer effect to actor on equipped or otherwise in inventory. Always enabled means it's always enabled if it's in your inventory. Enabled when equipped means it's only enabled when it is equipped. It is currently not equipped. This is the only difference. So effect suspended only means I don't have it on. So if I have it on, it will change. Whoops, sorry. It will change. Oh no, sorry. So effect suspended means that if it doesn't have it on, the effect is suspended. Sorry. That's what that means. Do not drink before you do YouTube videos, people. That being said, it's sort of an excuse. I've only had one cider, 4.5 alcohol, so do not worry. All the information I'm telling you is soundproof. It works. I've checked it all before the game, even though Shield decided to break for me. This all does work. Just sort of makes me feel better when I have an excuse for why I am very bad at navigating menus and remembering and saying correctly what things do. So do excuse me on that. Yes, so attribute armor class again affects this field. Bonus ability saves means that it adds a bonus to any ability save. It doesn't matter what ability save it is. You can have specific ability saves if you say only the item only gives strength ability saves bonus. But this just means any and all ability saves. So we have a +1 on that as per the item. So without it equipped, you see where armor class is 10. And when we do say, if we do a strength saving throw, normal, we get a 1d20 plus 0 due to the fact that we only have 10 strength, which is average and gives us a 0 modification bonus. And our result was 14. So let us go ahead and shift click this again, saving throw. Oops, sorry. First, let's go ahead in here, equip this. Armor class goes up to 11. And let us go ahead and saving throw. And you see that we now have a +1 bonus due to our Rigor Protection, which confers a +1 AC bonus. Alrighty, so two final things I want to cover. For that, I will pull out my player characters, well, not mine, but one of my characters. They have a cleric. So let us cover really quick here because I think my roast is burning. Let us cover Disciple of Life. So this is something that might be very useful for people who forget often. Disciple of Life. Again, this will be in the description below, so you don't have to remember. Bonus heal damage. Add 2 plus item at item.level. So while you would think you want class level, you want item level. So let us go in here and let us go ahead and say cast a. Let us cast a healing spell. And you will see that it has the correct plus. So +1 is +5. Sorry, is the item.level. +2 is sort of all of that is sort of I'm stumbling over myself, but all of that pretty much relates to Disciple of Life. If we delete this. Or sorry, let's not delete that actually. Let us go ahead and just, if we can, disable this. And then cast Cure Wounds. You will see that it will only have the +5 because the +5 is due to another feature, is due to the spell itself, rather. And then let us go ahead and dynamic effects. And let us, not suspend the effect anymore. Let's make sure. I'm going to go in here, sorry. Yes. Okay. One more thing before I go. If you want to find calls in the future easily, go ahead and go open your console, F12 for Windows users. And select any token that you want to find a call for, and you want to paste in the console. This, I will again put this in the description below, and you will click it. It will give you this. You can click it down and say you want to find, for instance, how I found for the Mage Armor spell, how I found Dex, the Dex call. You want to click here, abilities. You want to find Dex. In mods. Hover over that, it'll show you the exact call for calling Dex's modifier. So abilities.dex.mod. So hopefully that's a little bit helpful for you for creating your own dynamic effects, or dynamic active effects I should say, in the future without help of videos like mine, which might be a little hard to digest, I understand. I am very wibbly wobbly when it comes to this kind of stuff. Get a bit of an anxiety, and it doesn't help that on top of that, even without anxiety, I am just the absolute king of Lego talking and rambling, as I always say. Without further ado, that's going to be it. So hopefully this helped the person who suggested sort of showing some global effects, and hopefully this helps you as well, and hopefully those extra things helped out. If you have any more suggestions or requests as per the user that suggested this, And let us go ahead, and I will actually just look it up so I can give him a shout out, and you can all thank him for this information if you found it helpful. That would be Jalen Michaels Levy. I hope I pronounced that right. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully everybody else enjoyed this video too and found this information just as helpful as hopefully they did. Any more suggestions or requests like that, leave it down in the comments below. Thank you.